What if I told you the secret to totally changing your life isn't some huge, massive overhaul? What if it's a change so tiny you'd barely even notice it? Well, today, we're going to dive into the game-changing ideas from James Clear's Atomic Habits and see how those tiny little changes can lead to some seriously remarkable results.
We've all been there. You know the drill, right? You start a new diet with all this motivation, or you kick off a new workout routine. But a few weeks later, boom, you're right back where you started. So why is it so incredibly hard to make good habits stick? Well, the answer might surprise you. And spoiler alert, it has nothing to do with not having enough willpower.
For the author, James Clear, this whole journey into understanding habits, it all started with a pretty terrifying accident. I mean, a baseball bat to the face, it left him with some really devastating injuries, and he was forced to rebuild his entire life, one tiny, tiny step at a time. And it was right there in that struggle that he stumbled upon the incredible power of small, consistent actions.
Yeah, that whole experience revealed a really profound truth. Real, lasting change, it doesn't come from these big, grand gestures. It comes from the power of tiny gains. And that, right there, is the first and maybe the most important lesson we're pulling from Atomic Habits. So, what's the big idea here? It's simple. Just get 1% better every single day. I know, it sounds like nothing, right? So small, it's almost unnoticeable. But the results? Oh, they are anything but small. That tiny 1% daily improvement, it compounds. We're talking about becoming nearly 37 times better in just 1 year. You can basically think of it like compound interest, but for your life. You know, we're often sold this idea that success requires these massive, heroic efforts. But what James Clear's research shows is that's just a myth. Real, lasting success isn't about some once-in-a-lifetime transformation. Nope, it's the product of the small, consistent things you do every single day.
Okay, so if it's that simple, why do we fail so often? It's because of this thing Clear calls the plateau of latent potential. See, we expect to see results right away in a nice straight line, but in reality, the most powerful outcomes are delayed. So we get stuck in this valley of disappointment, we get discouraged, and we give up, usually right before our efforts are about to finally break through and pay off big time.
Okay, and this brings us to a pretty radical idea. What if setting goals is actually holding you back? Clear makes this powerful case that to get better, more consistent results, we need to totally forget about the finish line and just focus on our systems instead.
So what's the real difference between goals and systems? Well, goals are the results you want to achieve, right? Like running a marathon or writing a book. But systems are the processes that lead to those results. Think of your training schedule or that daily writing habit. And here's the real kicker. Winners and losers, they often have the exact same goals. It's the systems that make all the difference. And this line from the book, it's a total game changer. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. It's not about how badly you want to win the championship. It's about whether your day-to-day practices are good enough to actually get you there when it really counts. All right, so we've talked about tiny gains and building systems instead of just chasing goals. But the real secret, the thing that makes it all stick, goes even deeper. It's not about what you do, it's about who you become. Real, true transformation is all about changing your identity. Okay, think about it like this. Every single action you take, it's like a vote for the type of person you want to be. So going to the gym isn't just a workout, it's you casting a vote for yourself as a healthy, active person. And these little votes, they really start to build up over time. Let's see how this actually works. Say, every time you sit down to write, even if it's just one little paragraph on a single page, you're not just writing, you're casting a vote that says you are a writer. You're living that identity right in that moment. And, it's the exact same thing with fitness. Every time you lace up those running shoes and head out the door, doesn't matter how far you go, you are reinforcing your identity as a runner. See how the focus shifts? It's not about the outcome, like running a marathon. It's about the identity, becoming the kind of person who just doesn't miss workouts. And that's how change becomes a real part of who you are. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually put it into practice? How do we start building that new identity? Well, this is where James Clear gives us a super simple but incredibly powerful framework. He calls it the 4 laws of behavior change.
Think of this as your practical roadmap, your cheat sheet. So if you want to build a good habit, you've got 4 steps. 1, make it obvious. Like put your running shoes right by the door so you can't miss them. 2, make it attractive. Maybe you only let yourself listen to your favorite podcast when you're on a run. 3, make it easy. Don't start with a 5K, just start with a 2-minute run. And 4, make it satisfying. Track your streak on a calendar so you get that little hit of success. And what about breaking a bad habit? It's just as simple. You just flip the laws. Make it invisible, unattractive, difficult, and unsatisfying. It's a seriously brilliant formula for engineering your own success.
So when you take these 4 laws and you combine them with the compounding power of those tiny gains we talked about, and you stay relentlessly focused on your identity, that's when you unlock the real secret. The secret to change that's not just temporary, but lasting and meaningful. Because you gotta remember this key point. Small habits don't just add up, they compound. Every tiny positive thing you do builds on the last one, and it creates this powerful momentum. Eventually, that momentum starts doing the hard work for you, instead of you constantly fighting against yourself. Because really, at the end of the day, you are what you do. Your habits literally define you. So the goal isn't just to lose weight, it's to become a healthy person. It's not about saving a few bucks here and there. It's about becoming someone who is financially responsible. You literally become your habits. So that leaves one big question. What's your next move? You don't have to change everything all at once. Just start with one small step, one tiny little vote for the person you want to become. So ask yourself, what's the 1% improvement you're going to make today?